Hello, everybody! I'm having a lot of fun talking about Total Drama characters, so I felt like talking about one of Total Drama's most iconic characters, Heather. She's like the only character in the franchise I can think of that's changed over the course of multiple seasons. There's only like 3 characters that even come close, so let me tell you why. Heather is the most developed Total Drama character. In case you know nothing about Total Drama's Queen Bee, let me give you the rundown season by season. First up is Total Drama Island. Heather's the 6th camper introduced. The first thing she does on the island is try to quit. Once she realizes she can't leave, she decides to gaslight, gatekeep, and girl boss her way to the top. She allies herself with 2 of her teammates on the Screaming Gophers, Beth and Lindsay. Later, Beth decides to quit. When the teams merge, she and Lindsay ally with Izzy until Lindsay is eliminated, giving us this iconic moment. She allies herself with Duncan for an episode before that gets forgotten about. She then meets her downfall in I Triple Dog Daria, where she is shaved bald thanks to her former ally, Lindsay. Heather is responsible for 7 eliminations in Island, including Eva, Justin, Beth, Trent, Lindsay, Izzy, and most likely Jeff's. But I'll get into that later. Let's look at what's new with Heather in Season 2. Well, her head lost its corner. I guess that technically happened in the epic hour-long special, but who cares? So anyways, Heather is chosen by Gwen to join the Screaming Gaffers because
keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
And constantly gets her comeuppance for being the villain last season, being hated by pretty much everybody but Harold. Maybe Harold's just naturally forgiving, or it's because he's seen her titties, who knows. She goes a bit crazy over finding any source of hair and gets eliminated and befriends Lashana, which never gets brought up again. Now it's time for the Heather season.
World Tour!
Heather's back with full head of hair and takes on the protagonist role thanks to a bigger and all-around better villain, Alejandro Bersuetos. She doesn't become a full-on good guy though. She still schemes to recruit Sierra, which fails because Sierra knows everything about these people. Also because I don't think I'll ever get a chance to mention this again, what was up with Heather and the Amazon race? Throwing the challenge to have a group of people worship her is weird because Heather hates losing. The only time she comes close to this is in Not Quite Famous, where she reads Gwen's diary live on stage, but even then you can argue that they were way ahead and no one expected Harold's mad beatboxing skills. Anyways, side tangent over. Once Team Victory is erased from existence and the Gwunkin kiss is revealed, Heather's the deciding point between each clique. She either votes as Sierra and Courtney against Gwen, or Gwen and Cody against Courtney. She originally sides with Courtney, but since Courtney starts throwing challenges to get rid of Gwen, she switches to Team Gwen, because Heather hates losing. Unfortunately for Heather, it's a tie, and Courtney wins. In Sweet and Sour, Heather is annoyed that Al is flirting with Courtney, so she tries flirting with Duncan. She tries to form an alliance with Cody and Chinese Fake Out, which kinda works out later. She forms a brief alliance with Alejandro to eliminate Duncan, and then backstabs him and drumheller. But since Sierra blows up the plane, he is safe. Heather is the first to arrive at the finale, leading to Cody and Al fighting for a spot. Cody obviously loses, leading to probably the best finale in the show. First they get helpers, Alejandro gets Courtney and Lindsay, Heather gets Cody and Harold. Heather falls behind and Cody has to hype her up, which leads to this amazing moment.
I will destroy you! Come on, Heather! Are you just gonna let him win $1 million?
Hurry! There's no time to lose!
Don't give up or the bad guy wins!
You mean I'm the good guy?
Heather then makes it to the top of the volcano and has to manipulate Alejandro to bring his guard down enough to send him down the mountain, leading to 1 of 2 endings. Heather throws in her idol and everyone celebrates before Zeke does a ha-ha funny Lord of the Rings parody, or Heather throws in Al's idol and everyone is sad, and Zeke does a ha-ha funny Lord of the Rings parody. Overall, it's a bit of a downer ending with the good guy losing, but hey, it is what it is. Anyways, it's character regression time, and I'm not just talking about All-Stars. Revenge of the Island. Heather returns in episode 10 and acts like she did in Total Drama Island, but with way worse insults.
Wow, you're the Heather? Sorry, I have this policy of not talking to losers.
A real zinger there, Heather. Anyways, Heather goes full supervillain mode and steals a Zeppelin, $1 million, and Chris's Jimmy's. She's the main villain for 1 episode before lightning strikes her down, and that's it for season 4. I'm not gonna lie, other than Izzy, the cameos kinda sucked. And finally, let's look at All-Stars. Y'all probably already know how I feel about All-Stars, and if you don't, then watch my video about it. So Heather wasn't the worst character this season, but she still sucked. Heather, this master strategist we watched grow over the course of 3 seasons, decided not to hold on to the immunity idol, But at least we get nice Heather thanks to this season, so you win some, you lose some. I don't really want to talk about All-Stars more than I have to. So yeah, that's Heather on Total Drama. She went from amazing villain to outcast to anti-hero to villain of the week, and finally, just dumbed down. I guess she made a cameo in Dramarama or something. I'm guessing that's some kind of intimidating versus kind season. But hey, that's just a theory. Speaking of theories, so you may remember earlier on in the video when I said, and most likely Jeff's, but I'll get into that later. And now it is later. So there's a theory that Heather got special treatment from the producers during Total Drama Island. Now, I'm not the first person to come up with this theory, but let's take a look. First off, why would Heather be getting special treatment? Well, think about Total Drama Island. Who causes the most drama? It's Heather. When we get to the merge, Izzy and Duncan add a bit to the pot, but it's still like 90% Heather. So let's look back at eliminations. First up, Justin. There were 10 people on the Gophers. We know 5 voted for Justin, so there are 5 votes not accounted for. Gwen, Lashana, Trent, and Justin almost definitely voted for Heather. And Gwen could very easily convince Cody, so that makes it a tie. So what if Chris took 1 vote away from Heather? That or Cody voted for Trent. Next up is Trent. Less the actual voting and more how she gets the immunity. It just so happens that the key she gets leads to immunity. Because if she didn't get immunity there, she would have 100% been eliminated. And finally, Jeff. This ceremony has always annoyed me, because Heather does not have immunity, but everybody randomly gangs up on Jeff. At least with Izzy's episode, you could argue that they kept Heather around because she was paralyzed, but here she's available for elimination. Let's look at everyone. Duncan and Heather voted against Jeff. Gwen and Lashana definitely voted for Heather, so that leaves Owen and Jeff. Maybe Duncan threatened or briefly rekindled the guys' alliance off screen, but who else would Jeff vote for besides Heather? So even in this hypothetical scenario, it's still 3v3. So what if Chris shifted the votes and gave the party himbo the boot? But no one wants to see the bad guy win forever, so Heather stops getting the special treatment around Are We There Yeti and gets eliminated in I Triple Dog Daria due to Gwen and Owen teaming up. And in the finale, Heather does everything in her power to have Gwen lose, which she succeeds at in most places. So Heather was given special treatment by Chris or the producers to stir up the drama. And now you may be saying, why would they only do that once? And that's a good point. If you're a moron, because they do bring back a contestant to stir up the drama later in the series. In Total Drama Action, Owen is paid $50,000 to stir up drama. So contestants getting special help isn't out of the question, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I still have another theory to go over after all. So Heather has 3 weaknesses. Alejandro, which isn't important to this theory, her vanity, and an irrational fear of sumo wrestlers. What if those last 2 are connected? During the connecting special in Total Drama Island, we get this seemingly throwaway line.
I'm guessing either your parents are divorced, or you were really fat and pimply once.
What if we dig deeper into it? We know thanks to Heather's video message from home that her parents aren't divorced. So what if Heather was fat and pimply once, and her fear of sumo wrestlers isn't because of their incredible martial arts skills and intimidating presence, and more because she used to be fat like a sumo wrestler? I know it's not something massive, but it can show us why having her head shaved was such a big deal to her, other than looking bad on international TV. She was scared to be ridiculed again for how she looked. So that's Heather. I know this wasn't that in-depth of a video, especially for a character with as much screen time as Heather, but I had fun writing it, and I hope you had fun watching it. Please subscribe, as only 7.5% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed. And if you want to go the extra mile in supporting me, join my Patreon. There's some exclusive content like scrap thumbnails, scripts, and early versions of videos. And I leave your name in the special thanks section. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.